Here's the thing. I remember a couple years ago, I was at USC, and OBJ was there, and Antonio Brown was there. And this is beyond the 40, but just to add to how these two things go together. Obviously, AB has his speed, but when I watched him do this cone drill or what have you, I don't think I've seen anybody's feet do that agility,
fluidity,
cone drill, like anything. And even if I had never seen AB do anything else, I'm watching those two things, and the combination of that does tell me a lot. So it's not that by itself. And yes, we get awed and we're amazed by the time. But for me, I'm looking, what the form is. Are they tight? I'm looking for the north-south, all of these things that let me know how you move in open space as well. So we are just moments away from the huge NFC Championship game here at SoFi Stadium, the game that provides the Super Bowl ticket to the greatest game on earth. And of course, this is a big stage for both quarterbacks. The first one, Jimmy Garoppolo, who has dealt with a lot of criticism coming into this game. I recall our conversation in the tunnel at the end of the regular season finale against the Rams when he won that game, and he told me, going to the playoffs, baby. So despite the fact that he hasn't had more than 200 yards passing in the postseason or hasn't thrown a passing touchdown in the postseason, all he does is win. And now he's getting a big boost from news that I got just minutes ago. Left tackle Trent Williams telling me from the field that he is all good. You know what? You had that decision to go to the Rams when you were by yourself and praying, made the decision to come out to LA, and now you are going to the Super Bowl. How do you feel about that?
I told you! God is good!
Yeah. Just talk about how you guys were able to fight back from a deficit. Cooper Kupp coming up big in the end, too. You got some key plays. Talk about the way that you guys fought back from adversity.
This was about heart. This was about putting your foot down and saying no more. And we came up big. Defense came up big. Coop came up big. Let's go. One more.
Josina, you get a front row seat here to some of the greatest moments this game we love has to offer week in and week out, year in and year out. You always help us feel like we're sitting right there next to you. What's going to be your lasting image of this season when you look back on it?
Boy, there's just, there's so many. I mean, one of the first things that's going to obviously stick with me, and I shared this on Twitter, is Odell Beckham Jr. FaceTiming me from the locker room after the game, and that was his way of telling me that he was okay. I've covered him for a long time, and to me that just epitomized, the realization of a dream. This is what all of these players work for, whether it's Aaron Donald, whether it's Von Miller. I mean, even Robert Woods, who wasn't able to participate in this game, walked out of that locker room smiling with his hat on, because despite the fact that he was not at SoFi today, he was a part of the contribution to get here. So seeing everybody just file out, embrace their families, this is what it's all about. Ultimately, we work to live and not live to work so that you can have moments like this.
Josina, fantastic stuff as always from Super Bowl 56, keeping us up to the moment with all the latest. A fantastic season. We thank you as always for the insight.
What's happening with the quarterback situation there? Who is going to be their starting quarterback? Josina, we'll start with you.
Well, it's very interesting because they brought over Drew Lock, JLC, and then they had these press conferences really trying to sell you on the fact that they're confident in Drew Lock.
Yeah.
Right? And, I mean, listen, Drew Lock is a budding prospect in the league, but he is not where other people are as far as a known quantity as a passer. And then when everything was bubbling with Cleveland, you were hearing as far as through sources that they were talking to Cleveland through back channels to try to figure out what the compensation would be for someone like Baker Mayfield. I was hearing that they were told as a second-round pick. Maybe it's a third that could turn around to a second. But this was before Baker Mayfield wrote that Oprah letter, to everyone, telling everybody how he feels. And now that the musical chairs has ended, for, whatever, and now that aren't as many seats, of course that's going to have an impact when everybody knows that you have to get rid of him. Now, what you started to hear a little bit that even before arriving here is that Seattle had potentially cooled on Baker, what have you, especially as he was making it known that he wanted to go to Indy. Indy has since said that they'd rather have Matt Ryan.
Right.
Done deal.
than Baker Mayfield, and now there aren't so many chairs. Now, Pete Carroll just addressed the press maybe about an hour ago, and specifically asked them about his interest level in still acquiring a veteran starting quarterback, and he basically told us, yes, they're in the business as a tarantula or with buzzing, whatever, just went over my head. Right, I'm still here. It's not arachnophobia. I don't know what's going on. But he still mentioned the fact that they're looking for a veteran starting quarterback, that they're in the business for a starting quarterback. And then I tried to ask him, what traits are you looking for? Does it rhyme with Schmaker Mayfield?
Yeah,
you know,
I think it might.
Nimi Napolo, you know, and he basically kind of gave me a coy smile. So they're
what
still
about
looking.
Florida and Fluff? Because I go back to the.
But the Amari Cooper Dallas Cowboys news has certainly taken some headlines. Josina, what more can you tell us on that front there?
Well, there's a possibility that he could be released. He has a $22 million cap hit this year. He's owed $20 million. That would be guaranteed by March 20th. So when you consider, and this is what I was just told within the hour, that the Cowboys have multiple considerations when it comes to the current contracts, whether it be D-Law, who's $27 million against the cap this year, obviously the amount that they paid Dak Prescott before, and then you have a wide receiver on the team in Gallup who's unrestricted, but obviously making less than Cooper. They have some decisions to make. The thing that I was asking once I heard this news is, like, when you look at the two teams that were in the Super Bowl, that being the Rams and then also the Bengals, and the caliber of wide receivers in that game, my question is, what are the Cowboys doing? You know what I'm saying? Are you trying to do better in the postseason when you're looking at the collection of wide receivers you have? CeeDee Lamb is great. He's obviously progressed in the 2 years that he has been there, but who are you coupling him with that makes sense relative to what other teams are doing out there? They're like, what y'all doing?
And they needed Sue.
And they still needed him because he's been sacked about 50, 111 times. But Jamar Chase is making you forget that you still need an offensive line.
Right,
okay.
yeah. Exactly. And I think one thing also, kudos to Cincinnati. Granted, AFC forward, I don't really like them, but I got to give props what props do.
Yeah. Wait, you don't like who?
Cincinnati.
Why?
Steelers. Cincinnati. It just.
Is that why? So is that why when we were talking earlier on our little thing, you was voting for the Rams?
No. I was talking with my pockets.
Oh. Okay, well, you got to qualify.
He's talking about the business.
No, it's two different things.
Okay.
Is
this the football analysis or is this the money analysis?
This is football.
Okay.
Strictly football right here. And I'm about to give some tribute to Cincinnati.
Okay.
Because they have done a tremendous job over the last 3-4 years. Drafting and acquiring free agents.
Yeah.
Think about some of the moves.
Did you tell him what you told me as far as the first song you think is going to be at halftime?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, first song for halftime.
What?
With the roster, Snoop, Dre.
Who's first?
The first song they got to play is California Love.
He told me put $5 on California Love.
That got to be the first song.
I'm be mad though, because I need my $5.
I like that song.
Okay.
And what was yesterday? It was another prop bet of the
Tupac hologram.
So
that's when you bring Pac out. Ooh. Right here.
I'm just saying, you better have that right. Because then you told everybody to do the white jerseys or something. You told everybody
say
to do.
here, right here.
He's right here.
He's gonna be here. Right, bring Pac out right here. Hologram, bandana, California Love.
And that's exactly how it is going to go down. I don't know if you actually have to watch the game because I just told you.
I was just about to say, that sounded like a whole Steven Spielberg movie. We don't even have to go to SoFi behind us. You gave us the score.
We got
what's
the breeze. It's cool out here.
In the fourth quarter, you're saying the kicker's going to miss it. I don't know if his parents, is your phone ringing? Because his parents probably didn't like
I'm chilling.
So, your prowess offensively is not to be disputed, and your mastery of the offense not to be disputed. But as you know, I know you're going back all the way to your days in Denver, and so I'm just curious, what is it that you've learned, even just going back to 2009, 2010, and everything that happened with Indy and what have you, that you want to take into this experience with Las Vegas?
I think it's really important that I have a good group around me. I can only be good at the things I can be good at, and I know that when I was in Denver and had an opportunity to go through that, those failings have really been important in my growth as a person and as a coach, and understanding what I need to do better as a head coach, how I can be better for the organization.
Can I just say this real quick? For some of the flack that Josh has taken for what happened, I just want to say this. Going back to your first year in Denver, people should know this out there, that I know you learned from that, and Josh personally called a lot of the media after that year to express that. And ever since then, I know that you have it. So I think for everything that you've gone through, people should know that you've gotten it from way back then.
Yeah, thank you. I hope so. I've learned, like I said, it was humbling, and I don't have any problem saying that.
Our crew has been out at Marina Del Rey, a beautiful set, just about 10 miles there from SoFi Stadium. And for more on that, let's bring in our NFL insider, Josina Anderson, who's been sitting there listening to what Roger Goodell has to say. Josina, as I mentioned, I think about half the questions were about diversity, and mainly what we got from Roger Goodell was, yes, we need to do a better job. We're going to look at it. And that's about it.
That was a very polite way of saying that we heard a lot of cliches, which is typically what you get from this press conference. But it's still an opportunity for the media to try to pin him down and get better answers. And you're right. He spent the majority of the time talking about the diversity questions surrounding the latest coaching cycle. And obviously, in light of Brian Flores' lawsuit, one thing of note is that he did highlight the disparity in the head coach hiring. Obviously, that just being Mike McDaniel, who is a biracial coach for the Miami Dolphins, and obviously Lovie Smith for the Houston Texans, in comparison to the total that were hired for the front office position. So he acknowledged that that's a problem and that they want to address that. And also he acknowledged that they've been talking to outside, people with regards to how to do that. And that comes in the wake of their meeting with Al Sharpton and Reverend Jesse Jackson, who have called for the removal of the Rooney Rule and being willing to look at that from all aspects. How do you process, moving past? I mean, obviously you guys are so accomplished and even getting to the point that you were in the postseason, but how do you let that go as a coach? And then I want to know what the latest is on Tre'Davious White.
Yeah, I'll start with Tre'Davious first. Yeah. He attacks. He's the reason why he was the first pick in our regime's era here at the Bills in 2017 to begin with.
Beckham suffered a non-contact injury that forced him out of the remainder of the game, an injury to that same left knee that he tore his ACL back in 2020. Josina Anderson went one-on-one with OBJ, the Super Bowl champ.
All right, first of all, how does it feel to be Super Bowl champ?
Man, world champion, man. God is good, It was all a part of the plan, so I'm just happy to be here.
Everyone wants to know how you're feeling. We all saw you got the first touchdown of the game, then you got injured. What happened? What did you find out?
We don't know yet. Well, we're going to wait to hear, but, I was trying to go back out there. Doc's just going to take care of you, so I'm just happy to be here, man. God is good.